players will do is build a pylon right here so they can warp in units really fast. Very useful tactic. Will allow you frontline reinforcements until these rocks are broken or until he scouts and sends a few zerglings to take it out. These roaches are going to make short work of my zealots. He does micro 2 away to survive casualties. Now right now I am kind of frantic. I don't really have the army to take on these roaches. I am distracting him over here by trying to take out this hatchery, but I do see the number of roaches he has, and I know I can't take it head on. So right now I want to just try and macro up, try and produce a bigger army. I am getting 3 more gateways, which is generally good when you take an expansion. I do have Psionic Storm though, so that's the one thing that might save me. I do drop a storm right on top of his roaches, cause some pretty good damage. He does try and cut my zealots around, but I am warping in 3 more. One zealot goes down. This zealot runs back to his posse as they run down the ramp to try and take out these roaches. The roaches are going to retreat, not wanting to sustain major casualties. I should have pushed this, seeing that these roaches were injured, but I do decide to pull back. I am getting Kadarin Amulet, which is a very powerful research that sometimes goes overlooked. It allows your High Templars right when they come in to use a storm, which is very powerful. I am getting Phoenixes because I do want to try and snipe off some overlords, and if he goes into Mutalisk tech, which he is, they are very powerful against Mutalisk because they get bonus damage and they have 2 attacks, so they will out DPS a Mutalisk very easily. But I do believe they cost more than Mutalisks. Yes, they do. They cost only 50 minerals more. I do bring some High Templars here. Miss with a storm. Another miss, but that one drops right on top of him. But due to some very good micro, he moves out of the way. But just from one storm, most of these Mutalisks are with half health. Storm's a very powerful ability. 2 storms will kill a Mutalisk, provided that they stay on top of it. But it does keep the opponent trying to micro, and if he doesn't have very high APM, he will succumb to some pretty good damage. I don't want to try and engage this with my 3 Phoenixes. I don't believe that these could take this out, even though these are weakened. I do want to try and backstab them and try and take out some of these overlords. They are going to fly past just as the Mutalisks are going to spawn. I am going to take out 1 or 2 overlords, trying in an effort to supply cap them, if not have them spend some more money in overlords. I do notice this Hydralisk done. I am going to Graviton Beam the Queen to try and take it out. They don't quite have enough DPS as these Mutalisks come back. I do try and kill the Queen once more. I should have pulled out much earlier in this, which will cost me 2 of my Phoenixes. I am going to pull 1 Phoenix out and try and run away. I do lead him off over to my pylon though, and he does see that and he does take it out, which won't supply cap me, but it will stop me from reinforcing my front line. I do have a pretty scary number of Zealots. Unfortunately, Zealots cannot do anything against Mutalisks, as Mutalisks fly, and Zealots cannot throw their side blades, which would be very cool, very awesome. Blizzard, you should implement Zealots that can throw their side blades, because then they would be extremely OP, and Protoss would be even more awesome. I do have a High Templar here. He doesn't have energy for a storm because I did summon him before Kadarin Amulet was done. He does focus that down though. He does focus my Stalker down. I am going to get a few free Hydralisk kills, as my posse of Zealots are going to try and go for his main. I thought these Mutalisks were going to fly up to my main to try and harass my probe line, but nope, they stayed back, which will allow them to deal with this pretty well. I do run into his base, figuring this will be all or nothing. Try to take out his Spire. The Queen's gonna be coming here to take a few shots. She does transfuse the Spire. Once, twice, these Hydralisks are gonna come in, mop up my Zealots. Transfuses the Spire. The Spire comes down 55 health. Few more shots, and that would have been dead. Of course, he probably would have just transfused that right away. Does have a fairly scary army, Hydralisk and Mutalisk. The only thing I have going for me right now is a few Stalkers and some High Templars. Now, if I play this right and I do storm these correctly, I will cause some pretty good damage, and I will be able to repel this attack. If I storm if I storm incorrectly or let my High Templars get focus fired, I will be screwed over. And there I drop a storm on top of those Mutalisks, causing heavy damage. But he does focus off the last of my High Templars. I do summon in another High Templar and several Stalkers to try and mop this up. Now that's the reason why you want to get Kadarian Amulet. If I did not get Kadarian Amulet, I would have just had to warp in 4 Stalkers and try to repel this at most. Because I had Kadarian Amulet, I was able to take out all of those Mutalisks. Granted, these Hydralisks are still alive, and they are going to go for my natural to try and pick off some of my probes. I am going to send 4 Phoenixes out, knowing I can't really repel this right now, especially not with Phoenixes, so I am going to try and backdoor him and try and get some free Overlord kills. I am dropping in a fairly good amount of Zealots, and then storming the Hydralisks to cause massive damage. Charge lots are very effective against Hydralisks due to Hydralisks' low health. Now these Phoenixes are going to get a few Overlord kills. They are going to fly around, try and take out this Queen. I really wanted this Queen dead, just because it let that Spire live, and I had tried to kill it like 3 times already and it did not die. This Queen is pretty much immortal right now, just because of all the times I tried to kill it. I am going to get a few Overlord kills, and because I saw that Changeling run into my base, I assume an Overseer's up here that he hasn't moved because I haven't seen it around the map. So I am going to send my Phoenix up here to see for it, and I am going to get a free Overseer kill. And so I believe that will supply cap him, and I should probably grab one of these. Yes, it does. He does try and take this high yield again. Looking at the income, though, he doesn't have this very saturated, although, since I am mined out at my main, I do transfer some workers, and right now I am behind in income, but I do have a fairly scary army, very powerful army. These Phoenixes are going to intercept these weakened Mutalisks, and I am going to use Focus Fire to try and take down as many Mutalisks as I can, and my Phoenixes will survive. These Zerglings are scared. Looking at the army tab, he doesn't really have an army, he just has those Zerglings. And I've just been massing units right now. I do have a very high number of units. I am going to come in here, see what he has, try and take out this Queen. That Queen finally dies. She was a hero for the swarm, but she does go down. He does drop another hatchery here. One of the things you really want to do as Zerg is try and secure your natural right away, because you want to get that macro bonus, that great income that Zerg players do. I think what he thought was he was going to try and be sneaky and try and get some extra larva production, but he is mining himself out in the main. He does need to transfer the workers over here and try and get his macro back up. Does have a very nice army, but my army is much bigger. I do drop a storm on top of these Hydralisks. They are going to go down. These Zealots are going to charge right through these Hydralisks. The Hydralisks got to melt away, and I am going to make the slow Protoss death march towards his base. There's really not much he can do right now. My Phoenix is going to come in here to scout, see what's up, see if he's reinforcing his army much. I am going to charge right in here, try and cause as much damage as I can. That's pretty much GG, and he does leave the game, and that's the end of the game. Now, one of the things I want to note is a lot of Zerg players, he had nice Overlord spread. He was scouting the map with his Overlords, but he did not get his creep tumors going. He had his Queen that had like 200 energy before I sniped it off. He should have kept injecting larva, kept spreading that creep out here, grabbed his natural and that high yield. That drone transfer was very inopportune for him, because I did notice that they were going over here, so I assumed, hey, he's probably got the high yield, so I did want to go check that out. If that drone transfer would have been a few seconds late or a few seconds earlier, I would not have checked over here, and he would have had a huge income bonus over me. So basically, very powerful plays by both players. I did just, in the end, because I took this expansion fairly early, I did out-macro him. I had many gates going, I believe 6 gates going. I did get those Phoenixes out to do some harassment at the Overlords. Those Mutalisks did come out, but they are no match for the mighty, mighty High Templar and his Storms. This one's not so mighty because he only has 0 kills, but some of my other ones had like maybe 12 kills. I don't know. Anyways, Storm, very powerful, very underused spell. I recommend all of you Protoss players to mess around with it. You will be surprised at how powerful it is. This is SkullBoy signing off. Goodbye.